A gracious good day to one and all, once again. 'Tis I, Norton the First, by grace of God, Emperor of the United States and Protector of Mexico, back with you once again. This is going to be episode 55 of Emperor Norton's Fantastic History Vlog. Today is May 27, 2020. This is our 73rd day of shelter in place here in the Empire. Let's begin with a highlight from San Francisco history, as we always do. And we will once again be reading from John Ralston's wonderful book, This Date in San Francisco, because it was on May 27, 1937 that the Golden Gate Bridge opened. Now, not to vehicular traffic. First day was a bridge walk for pedestrians only. Read a little bit from John's book about what happened that day. People began lining up Wednesday evening to cross the bridge when barriers were removed on Thursday the 27th. Estimates of 100,000 crossers was way low. At 6 a.m., at least 5,000 people surged on the bridge. About 8,000 crossed between 7 and 8 a.m. Over 100,000 had already crossed by 2 p.m. And when the barriers were replaced at 6 p.m., over 200,000 had crossed. They came in all ages and types with a liberal interpretation of pedestrian. They came in with roller skates, unicycle riders, a man on stilts, men and women in cavemen costumes, people walking barefoot, people walking backwards, dogs, even cats. Everybody wanted to be the first one to do something like that. Somebody walked across in a giant ball, someone roller skated across. About 2 p.m., a man heard something, waved and shouted, "Be quiet, listen to the bridge." The crowd hushed and heard what the Chronicle called the voice of the bridge. As the west wind blew, the suspender cables vibrated, producing deep organ-like sounds, blending into a splendid diapason. I hope I pronounced that right. Correct me if I didn't. Those different sounds. As after the last pedestrians had been shooed away, preparations were completed for the Friday opening of the bridge the next day to vehicular traffic. At noon in Washington, D.C., President Franklin Delano Roosevelt would push a telegraph key to signal that the bridge was officially open. Military aircraft, ships, and of course automobiles would pass, sirens would wail, and foghorns would blow. Quite a bridge, and of course at the time it was the longest suspension bridge in the world. It is now, let's see, I believe number 17. Yes, number 17. It was the longest suspension bridge until 1964, when it was surpassed by the Verrazano Narrows Bridge in New York City. Now, a few interesting facts about the bridge real quickly. The bridge is 8,981 feet long, 1.7 miles, and contains 88,000 tons of steel. The total weight of the bridge is 887,000 tons. There are 2 towers that hold up the 2 steel cables anchoring the bridge. Also, there are approximately 80,000 miles of wire inside of each of the steel cables. The towers stand 726 feet above the water and 500 feet above street level. They weigh 44,000 tons each and are 4,200 feet apart from each other. The bridge is 90 feet wide. There are 6 driving lanes and 2 sidewalks. And when it was built, as I said, it spanned 4,200 feet and staked its claim as the longest suspension bridge in the world. And of course, one thing we forgot to cover a couple days ago was the infamous bridge walk of 1987 for the 50th anniversary. That took place on May 24th, and we were there. The city had planned on about 40,000, maybe 50,000 to attend. They were going to reenact the bridge walk, and the bridge set shut down to traffic. Got there very early, made it to just about mid-span that morning, along with hundreds of thousands of people. It is estimated between 500 and 800,000 people were on the bridge that morning. You might notice the bridge arches slightly in the middle, the arch flattened. It's engineered to do that. the bridge began swaying from side to side. It's engineered to do that. Suspension bridges are meant to be flexible, which is why they do so well in earthquakes. We suddenly heard a voice come over the loudspeakers saying, "Everyone get off the bridge now." And we turned around and stood in place for about 2 hours. Total gridlock. Took 4 hours to get off the bridge. No one was seriously hurt. We were having to pass people over our heads, those who panicked. Quote of the day was from one of the local newscasters. My favorite quote: "I wouldn't have missed it for the world. I wouldn't do it again for $1 million." And they'll probably never have another bridge walk. They did think about having a bridge walk when they opened the eastern span of the Emperor Norton Bridge a few years ago, but thought better of it after looking at the debacle of 1987. That could have been a huge disaster. Thank goodness it was not. Well, enough of that. Let's get to our other items for today. 1703, St. Petersburg, later Leningrad, now St. Petersburg again, was founded by Russian Tsar Peter the Great. 1907, a bubonic plague breaks out in San Francisco. This is not a very well-known story, but if you'd like to learn more about it, there's a great book on the subject, The Barbary Plague, well worth seeking out. 1930, the 1,046-foot Chrysler Building in New York opens, the tallest man-made structure at the time. It would be surpassed by the Empire State Building on May 1st, 1931. 1936, the RMS Queen Mary leaves Southampton for New York on its maiden voyage. Of course, now we know it is docked permanently in Long Beach, California. If you've never been to Queen Mary, it's well worth it. 1961, the first black light is sold. And I guess that started the whole black light poster movement that became very popular in the hippie era. 1977, the Sex Pistols released their song God Save the Queen, sparking major controversy and leading to a ban of the song by the BBC. Well, I'm glad they didn't write God Save the Emperor. 1995, actor Christopher Reeve is paralyzed from the neck down after falling from his horse in a riding competition. He would die on November 10th, 2004. Our births today, 1837, Wild Bill Hickok. His real name is James Butler, famous for his Wild West shows, frontiersman. 1907, Rachel Carson, American marine biologist, conservationist, and writer. 1911, former vice president and presidential candidate Hubert Humphrey was born. Also 1911, Vincent Price, the great horror master. 1922, speaking of which, Sir Christopher Lee was born. 1923, former National Security Advisor, Secretary of State Henry Kissinger is born, and today would be his, 97th birthday. Wow. 1934, American sci-fi author Harlan Ellison was born. Let's get into our deaths today. 1949, Robert L. Ripley, cartoonist, Ripley's Believe It or Not. 1960, James Montgomery Flagg. That's a name you might not know, but you might know his most famous image because he was the one who created what we now consider to be the main version, the authentic version of Uncle Sam. Beard's kind of similar, I guess. He created that work in 1917 as a poster to encourage recruitment in the United States Army. And it showed Uncle Sam pointing at the viewer with the caption, "I want you," for the U.S. Army. He had first created the image for July 6, 1916 cover of Frank Leslie's illustrated newspaper with the headline, "What are you doing for preparedness?" Over 4 million copies of that poster were printed during World War I and revived for World War II. Some say he was the model, some say it was a neighbor. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt praised his resourcefulness for using his own face as the model. Very iconic image, isn't it? Yes, still with us today. 2006, on this date, we lost Alex Toth, a name you might not be familiar with unless you are a fan of Hanna-Barbera cartoons, for he was the creator of the Super Friends, the Fantastic Four, Space Ghost, C-Lab, the Herculoids, and Birdman. You might be familiar with his work if you are a fan of Adult Swim, especially the early Adult Swim, when it was still good. Because his work was revived for C-Lab 2021, Space Ghost, Coast to Coast, one of my favorites, and of course, Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. On this date in 2017, we lost a musician and Sherzak's Greg Allman, and just today, we lost one of the great AIDS activists, a wonderful author and playwright, Larry Kramer. A great loss, but he did live to be 84, which is an age that nobody thought he would ever see. So it says here, stay angry, my friends. Learn more about Larry Kramer. Well, that wraps it up for today. Until we meet again, stay safe, stay healthy, stay inside. If you go outside, wear a mask. Don't be stupid, be smart. Be kind to one another, please. Until we see you again, a gracious good day.